April 20th, aka 420. An unofficial holiday for marijuana aficionados. The origin has something to do with a code made up sometime in the 70s, which some clever stoner then realized, hey, April is the 4th month of the year, and April has a 20th day. So April 20th became 420. On Saturday, it was trending on Twitter. By the way, that whole thing in Boston, completely forgotten. 420, Coachella, and Waffle House are now more important. 3 people died and 183 people were injured, some of them to a point where they've lost limbs less than a week ago, but bro, weed and waffles! And a Facebook friend of mine mentioned 420 in a status that I couldn't resist trolling. Not sure why we're all celebrating Hitler's birthday and the anniversary of Columbine, but hey, each their own, I guess, says playful old Buckley, intentionally ignoring the obvious weed reference to remind everyone that one of history's worst human beings was born on this day in 1889, and 110 years later, 2 kids shot up a school. And it took literally minutes for someone to take the bait. I'm celebrating marijuana, not Hitler or Columbine. Thank you. Maybe they should celebrate by buying a keyboard with a shift key. But anyway, celebrating marijuana. Celebrating drugs. What a loser. This is what 420 is all about. Let me first start off by saying that I'm all for the legalization of marijuana. I think weed definitely should be legal. I'd love for it to be sold by the government or corporations and taxed. It would create new jobs, bring in more tax dollars for things like healthcare, education, police, what the fuck they want to use it on, and save us even more tax dollars that we currently piss away on court costs and imprisonment costs for people who are caught with a bag of weed. You can bet they'd protect their investment and still bust personal grow-ops. No way if it's ever legal, you'll be able to grow your own. They're going to want you to buy it. Just like how you're not legally allowed to manufacture and sell your own cigarettes, which are completely legal to buy now. But anyway, I'm all for legalizing weed. However, I still think people who would celebrate the fact that they are drug users are pieces of... Why? For the same reason I would think an alcoholic celebrating their love of beer or whiskey or whatever they drink is a piece. I have friends who smoke, and I think if someone's at a party, they want to get high, whatever, great. Enjoy. But if you smoke every day, you shouldn't be proud of that. You should feel bad about the fact that you have a dependency on something, that you're an addict. But Buckley, you can't be addicted to weed. Of course you can. You can be addicted to cereal. Addiction is defined as the compulsive need for and use of a habit-forming substance characterized by tolerance and by well-defined physiological symptoms upon withdrawal. Marijuana does not create a chemical dependency, and I wouldn't classify everyone who smokes weed as an addict, just as I wouldn't classify someone who goes out drinking once every couple of weeks as an alcoholic, nor would I classify someone who goes to a casino a couple times a year as someone with an addiction to gambling. But there are people who are addicted to those things. If you smoke every day, that's a habit you've formed. Likely, it takes more for you to get high as you do it more often, hence you've built up a tolerance, and anyone that smokes every day that is forced for one reason or another to stop for a few days, they're lying if they tell you that they aren't having some sort of withdrawal symptoms. The THC in weed is a mind-altering drug that generally causes people to be in a good mood, and when they stop, often people feel edgy, depressed, they'll have headaches and trouble sleeping, especially if they used to smoke before bed. I've met a fair number of people who smoke to get through the day or to stop themselves from being depressed. They need it. You're addicted to the feeling. But Buckley, it's all natural, it's good for you. Drinking isn't good for you. Doctors have said that a glass of wine a day actually is good for you, helps with circulation. A bottle of wine a day, however, is bad for you. Similarly, studies have shown that marijuana is a better pain reliever with less chance for dependency than, say, perks. But studies have also shown that any smoke inhalation is bad for your lungs over a long period of time. It's unlikely to give you cancer like cigarettes do, but it still isn't good for your lungs. Weed isn't good for you. It's not boosting your immune system or improving your cardiovascular system or helping you lose weight. In fact, with all the sitting around, not being active, and eating junk food that most stoners do, it's likely doing the exact opposite of those last two things. But anyway, it's not good for you. It's just not as bad for you as other drugs or alcohol or cigarettes. And as for all natural, oh yeah, all that hydroponic you're smoking is totally natural. It's natural for plants to grow under lamps in a guy's basement and be fed extra things that boost the THC levels. Come on. Yeah, well, I can quit anytime I want. Who says that? Oh yeah, every addict ever. Face it, if you get high often, I would say more than 3 or 4 times a week, you have an addiction. I would definitely say that a person who gets drunk more than 3 or 4 times a week is an alcoholic, and I think most intelligent people would agree with that. Most people would also agree that someone who would get drunk alone, or who wakes up and has a drink, is kind of pathetic and likely has a problem. But here are some questions to habitual marijuana users, if you can really be honest with yourselves for a minute. Do you often smoke by yourself just while sitting around watching TV? Do you ever wake and bake? Wake up and smoke before starting your day? If so, how is that less pathetic? Because it's not alcohol, it's weed? That's not an answer. They're both mood-altering substances. So, celebrating your dependency on a drug, being passionate about a drug, observing a holiday where you do drugs, I think that's pretty pathetic. As pathetic as if any other substance abusers created a holiday for themselves to try and justify what they do as a popular activity that there's nothing wrong with. Conversely, I think people who use St. Patrick's Day as an excuse to get blackouts are pretty pathetic too, especially when it's the same people who get blackouts every weekend anyway, and likely the average person who's excited about 420 is someone who doesn't need another excuse to get high. They were going to do it that day anyway.
I don't like this.
You want to smoke once in a while at a party or with a few friends over, whatever. I think that's fine. Go ahead, enjoy yourself, have a great time. Definitely nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. And I think you should be able to go buy it at the store, just like you can go buy a bottle of vodka. Anything in moderation is fine. But don't get high every day and then lie to yourself that your behavior is any better than the behavior of anyone addicted to any other substance. It's not. You're an addict. Happy 420, though. Have fun celebrating your weakness by getting high. Again.